some people are acquaintances, and that's all right. Like, some people you do vibe with in particular atmospheres, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to always be deep with everybody.
Hey tribe, welcome back to the Beyond series, a series created by Coffee and Prayer to inspire you to believe God, believe bigger, and believe for more. And today we are talking about friendship. And I'm here with someone very special. I'm very important actually in my life, personally, intimately, but also in the operations of Coffee and Prayer. So she is not only Stella, is not only my friend, but also my co-worker.
Yes.
She partners with me for Coffee and Prayer. And so today we're going to be talking about friendship because we understand that it is very, very important to God. One word to describe our friendship.
Oh, one.
One word.
I would say safety.
Wow. That's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one.
It was hard to choose one.
Yeah. Oh. I can take your one.
Go on then.
It's true, actually. It is safe.
I'd say safety, yeah.
I was
What
one
did you
word
have in
that
mind?
came was pure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Pure.
beautiful one.
I know. If you cry, then I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, we can't
So,
do this
we
today.
can't do
We
this.
can't.
And we're from South.
Wait, girl, we gotta hold it down. You gotta try.
My fellow South girl, right? But you know, our friendship means so much to me. I feel like, to be honest, you were originally Ayo's friend.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? He made a joke. This must have been a couple of years ago. He was like, yeah, but like, remember we're day ones. And you were like, no, day two still count, day twos.
No, but it's true. Like, I mean, I feel like I just whisked you away from, you know, but
anyone seeing us today would think that I became mates with your husband.
yeah. That's it right there.
Yeah.
But I really, really do appreciate and love our friendship. I think our friendship has taught me a lot about love. Yeah, it's taught me a lot about love. And one of the scriptures that I feel really encapsulate, for myself anyway, our friendship is Proverbs 17, verses 17. And it says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother or a sister is born for adversity. Like that, every time I think about our friendship, I think about that scripture because I remember there was a pivotal moment after experiencing church hurt. And I remember we actually met up in Cafe Nero. Yeah, we were in Cafe Nero. You got me a tea or hot chocolate and we were just talking. You were like, how are you? And that was, I met you first at your birthday.
Yeah. I remember. That was the outdoor barbecue? Was that
Yeah. I met you first then. But then to actually get to that place of vulnerability to be like, hey, I'm hurting. This is affecting me. And from then, I feel like we've not...
It's just...
it's just grown. Like, we've not... It's just been like...
in step.
Yeah. And if anything were to happen, I feel like our husbands will be like, my friends...
Oh, they wouldn't have it. Yeah, but like, my friend, you're both staying in this room.
Until you sort it out. Sort it out right now.
Sort it out, mate.
Get out of my pub, literally.
Don't kill me.
But literally, I feel like that is like... that memory always sticks with me. And especially when I think about a brother who's born in adversity, because many people lose friends in adversity, or maybe they feel lonely in adversity. But at such a pivotal moment, it was like I gained a sister, which is beautiful. But I feel like this episode is important because God is an advocate of community, of relationship. He's a relational God. Do you know what I mean? And like, I feel like we experience, like, people are an extension of God's heart. Like, we experience, and I feel like I experienced that with you. Like, even in those, like, please don't cry. Don't, please.
I'm gonna hold it down.
Hold it down. Because if you cry, then I'm gonna cry. And then what are the listeners gonna listen to?
I know. Just but everything that you're saying to me, I could say right back to you, and I do.
Oh,
sis. And when I said safety was the word sincerely, like, I feel like what you described, and I'm gonna let you finish.
No, I'm gonna let you finish, but you can go.
Beyonce had that anyway. I feel like there are so many moments that I can recall where I could just be vulnerable with you, and it was safe, no judgment, and actually it was always building up. And I feel like that's just what's essential in, well, I mean, I'm not trying to get ahead, but essential in relationship and friendship. So, yeah.
Yeah. So does a thug tear come in?
Girl,
so I just
hold it down.
Let me just. But yeah, I think what you've said is just so key about like friendship. And I think in my experience, number one, growing up, I didn't have good experiences in terms of after my mum passed away, I didn't have good experiences with older women. And I feel like that kind of made me skeptical of women in general, like girlfriend. And then you go to high school and girls can be catty and they can do the whole nine, you know, if you don't look a certain way or you're not a particular person, you can, it can break you as a person if you're not like the most popular person or whatever. And then I feel like college and then coming up into my 20s, but then even then there was a few friendship breakups. Do you know what I mean? Like,
those can hurt.
And those are basically breakups.
Yeah, no, real.
Like
they cut deep.
They really do. Like,
it can take you a while to recover. Like,
literally. Like, I remember one friendship breakup. There was a movie that we always used to like. Why Did I Get Married? We both loved it and would always watch that movie together. But now when I watch that movie, I can't even watch it no more because it just brings back, it reminds me that we're no longer friends anymore like that. You know what I mean? So it goes to show actually like how much relationships matter in our lives and 100%. The impact that they make, 100%, right? Yeah. For you, like when it comes to friendship, how has that journey been for you, especially now that we're adults? Can you imagine we're adults?
I'm still a baby girl.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Adult baby girl.
Adult baby, adult baby. I have to concede. Adult baby girl. I think for me, I'd say I've always been a person I think that loves hard, and so when you love hard, you can often wear your heart on your sleeve and be quite open with people, and that's not always. It's not. It can be tough out there. So when you do sort of let people in, and you try to think well of everyone because you want to love everyone, it is easy to get burned because not everyone has your best. What's the best intentions for you? And so it's been interesting, sort of navigating, especially as you described, like through school and things like that, like. It always does feel like, like in the high school movies, like you're trying to find your tribe, like the people that you gel with. And so, and everyone, like no matter who you are, even whether you were the most popular kid or whether you weren't, everyone goes through a bit of an awkward phase, like where you're kind of unsure of yourself, you're trying to figure it out. And ultimately, you really are just looking for acceptance.
Yes.
And I was no different. And I think in a bid to please everyone around me, I was very agreeable as a person, as a child, and that can lend itself to hurt actually if you're not around people who have the same heart as you.
Yeah. I love that you use that word accepted, because I think in the safety of our friendship, I feel like acceptance is the biggest key thing in what makes it safe. So like you're very accepting of who I am, beyond everything else that I do. Like everyone else can see me, but you see me. Do you get what I mean? And you're very accepting of it. Do you know what I mean? So like those broken moments, those defeated moments, those moments that I've not been sure. And, I can say, I don't want to speak for you. You could be like, no, that's not true on my end. But I'm sure the feeling's mutual, right? No. But like acceptance, because I feel like that's what's important in friendship. Like that element of I accept you.
It is like there's something so beautiful about when you meet people that you connect with on a level, but then actually you can be your authentic self with them. Like that's like peak joy. Do you know what I mean? It really is, because then you do feel like you can be yourself. You do feel like, okay, I'm in a space where there's no judgment. Like you do feel like, okay, I can, you know, make mistakes because I'm human, and my friend will still love me. Like, if anything, they'll pull me up even, because that is also a key aspect of real friendship, being real with one another.
But even on that point, because I'm just thinking about even as adults now, how you get to that place where you show your authentic self in a friendship, because like the experience of having friendship breakups, that could be down to betrayal, that could be just down to growing apart, wanting different things, whatever it may be, but it still alters how you now view the next person that wants to be your friend, right? Like true. You're more guarded, like you're less like open to giving everything. And I know for myself, that was one of the things as well. It was like, like one of the things my therapist said, like, you have to ask yourself the question, like the moments where I was unsure to be vulnerable with you, not because you'd done anything, but just because there was like that story in my mind that, just like it's not even just the friendship, just like the experiences you had in your family and whatnot, this person's gonna do the same thing, you know? And so I guess like, how have you, even in your own experience, been able to build trust in friendship to get to that place where you're like, this is me, you know, it's me, take me.
Oh, girl. It's been hard. It's been a hard journey, because I think as well, like you said, like, I mean, getting to a place in adulthood where you can even say of yourself, this is me, is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're all on such an interesting journey of self-discovery, where it's like, actually, you know, what you do, what you like, interests, like, change and evolve over time as well, and becoming accepting of actually like not molding yourself to who you think other people want you to be, and actually being like, no, this is me, this is what I genuinely like. And you know, it doesn't mean that you can't vibe with someone who has different interests. You can still very much click. But then when you speak about trust and trusting someone with your heart and with who you are after being hurt, it's absolutely a journey. And I think for myself, I think it's been learning to identify different levels of friendship.
Speak on it.
I think when you mention that you'll have like friendships that may change in certain seasons, maybe, you know, maybe it's been betrayal, maybe it's just things, you know, have happened and you've naturally drifted apart because of, you know, you've changed, adult life, you know, all of that is true. And I think identifying, you know, I'm trying to, so I see things in visuals, so I can see it in pictures what I'm trying to say, but it's almost like, not to sound separatist, but like who you can give 100% to, because you can be 100% vulnerable, and who actually is more a fun time, who is more social. So I'm trying to be delicate with my words.
No, don't be like, be you, girl, be true.
But like, yeah, I think, gaining and developing trust, I think, has come also with developing the wisdom in who you can allow into different facets of your life, different areas of your life.
Yeah.
And also, often, relationship, like friendship, it is also about taking a leap of faith, you know? Like, you know, deciding that, okay, based on what this person is giving me, I am gonna choose to be vulnerable here. Like, and trusting that, okay, like, not every experience that you've had is gonna be like the last experience of, let's just say if it was betrayal, like, not every person is the same, and observing what people are giving you. And trusting that actually, okay, no, let me walk in. I think, I think taking steps, I think, to building that trust has been essential, because if you stay here out of fear that you'll be hurt, then you'll never really develop meaningful relationships.
Yes, meaningful relationships. I love that, because there's a quote that Dr. Darius Daniels says in his book, Relational Intelligence. It's a really amazing book. He speaks about loving all but close to few. So being able to love all, you know, but I'm close to few because they can handle my vulnerability. They can handle my silly side. They can handle my authentic side. And then you've got, I think sometimes we're afraid to almost put people in their rightful place.
Yes.
So like, you're an acquaintance.
Yes,
and that's
girl.
actually,
and that's okay.
That's okay.
That's
like, I'll see you when I see you.
And I love that you said that, because I feel like that's what I was struggling to say before. Because I was like, oh, like, you know, you don't want to feel like you're, you know, relegating people to positions, but actually, no, it's just life. Like, some people are acquaintances, and that's all right. Like, some people you do vibe with in particular atmospheres, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to always be deep with everybody. It frankly can't be, because you can't spread yourself that thin.
And that is it. Like, I think we miss that. Friendship is an emotional exchange.
Yes.
And so we can't spread ourselves, like, come on, like, you know, my one conversation with yourself and probably Toby is enough for me to be like, okay, I've got my life together, you know what I mean? And then I know who I can go to when it comes to like, hey, like creative stuff, business stuff. Do you know what I mean? And that is okay. And I think it's becoming comfortable with where people sit. Like, I see you at church, and that's okay as well. We pray together. We serve together, and that's okay.
And it's even
offended.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's even like I think sometimes as well, like, I don't know, maybe it's also the society that we're in, that it's almost like, what's that Drake song, No New Friends? Like, it's where it's just like,
No
I got
friends.
my circle, I got my tribe, and but everybody else. And actually, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you can have, you know, beautiful, meaningful friendships. I have some colleagues at work that I get on with great. Like, you're not going to be lifelong friends with everybody. But actually, your working relationship can be fire. Like, your bands can be unmatched, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be pouring out your phone to that person every week. Do you know what I mean? So, it's that discernment, having the discernment to like almost regulate the content of the relationship. And to be like, okay, no, I know what this is. And that's okay. And I think sometimes the disappointment is that we expected more. Oh, sis, speak on it. Speak on it.
Because I know I've been in situations where my idea of that relationship, that friendship, was this. That was not their idea. They didn't give me the content to have, but I had that idea. And I'm disappointed when they don't show up as the idea I had in mind.
And God bless your self-awareness, because I feel like for myself, I had to also come to that point. Actually, someone had to point it out to me. It was my husband, and I think
we love our husbands.
God bless them. God bless
giving
them.
us the real.
And sometimes we don't want to hear it.
We don't want to hear it.
Bite their heads off. But then I'll come back later with my topic and I'm like,
maybe,
I can't lie, you're right, you know. Like, I can see that. But he had to point it out to me that sometimes I'll be given 100%. To people who are giving me 40. And they're not bad people for giving me 40, but my expectation of them is unfair, because actually maybe the relationship just isn't quite the same as what I thought. And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Because again, it's fine to have acquaintances. It's fine to have people who you can engage with because you have mutual interests in a particular industry or whatever else. But it's not everyone that you're going to be pouring your heart out to. And you may really like some people, but it's not everyone that as well that you will necessarily connect with instantly either. And I think coming to the realization that,
so good.
Actually, it is me.
It's a you problem.
It's a me problem now. Like,
it's me.
I'm holding on to a bit of resentment for a person that actually is loving me in their own way, in the way that they can. In the way that, you know. And let me take a step back and love the relationship for what it is. And actually, when I am able to do that, I enjoy it so much more.
You enjoy it, yes.
Because you know what it is.
You know what it is. And you know what? I have thought, like, earlier on, especially in my mid-20s, like, having a lot of those conversations. Oh, I felt you wasn't there for me, and it's just like reducing those to where it and actioning them to where it actually matters.
Yeah.
So I know, like, the person that I see every other 6 months or whatever, I don't need to have that conversation with you. I don't need to expect that you will be there in the way that maybe my expectation is like Stella is going to be there. Do you know what I mean? I'll probably be like, Stella, man, I would have loved for you. Do you get what I mean? But that's different and it's exhaustive.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It's draining. So I feel as though there is like you have so rightfully said, managing our expectations.
Yes.
That's what it is. Managing our expectations. And on that point of trust as well, I think there's something to be said, like, you're not only just observing people's, content, like what they're giving to you, but also their fruit, whether they're worthy of your vulnerability. And I love Stacey Gasheru, like she's a staple at CMP.
Yes, she is. She's part of the CMP
so
family.
we love you, Stacey. But she said, like, give someone something that you're comfortable sharing, a bit of your vulnerability, and see what they do with that. And then see if they're worthy of more. And I think it's being able to also test whether this is ground for me to basically plant seed.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so listen, I feel like we've kind of touched on majority of things, but I want to also talk about communication as well, because I feel like that's the bedrock of any relationship that we want 100%. To work. And communication in the sense of like transitions, because like, I mean, we weren't single. I mean, when we first met, kinda. I was. I mean,
you were with my bro.
I was with your. Yeah.
I wasn't yet with my husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we both around the same time, and then got engaged.
Yes.
And then like got married.
Yes.
And now we have kids. Like, there's so many like transitions that we've been through that has required that connection, that communication. Like, how has that been for you?
Oh, do you know what? In relation to us, I would say
that's quite the deep end, isn't it?
Do you know
like
what?
Throwing you out there.
No, do you know what? Because I was thinking, and I thought, at risk of sounding like, oh, our friendship is amazing. Like, I'd say actually relatively smooth. And the reason I say that is, when I say that, not to say that things haven't been without their bumps and bruises, but I'd say actually what has made it smooth is our adaptability. And I think what you said about communication is so key, because even if we've ever felt like, oh, like we've had a couple of seasons where it's been like, oh, I felt like, you
wasn't
there.
there,
And like we're going through things at the same time. It's like, oh, it's just like, do you know what? I've been going through it, And just being able to say, like, sis, I feel like I needed you then, Like, the fact that we even feel like we can say that to one another, like, and then we're able to be like, oh, sis, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I would have, like, I didn't even see because I was just like so blinded by X, Y, and Z. Like that, and then being able to receive one another's heart and then adjust and adapt and be like, even if we can't be there in the same way, we're gonna do this to show that I'm thinking of you and that I love you. Do you know what I mean? And so when I say relatively smooth, it's because I feel like we've been able to communicate and adapt, and like, no one's perfect. Like, absolutely, like, I'm like, I probably should have called Susan a couple weeks ago because I'm feeling a bit hurt right now. And then when I do, I'm like, what was I worried about? Like, and especially, and I don't mind sort of sharing a bit vulnerable, like when there are so many other things at work, like when you talk about transitions, like when we had our babies, like when...
Because they're quite similar in age.
And when Ava was born, and I really struggled heavily with my mental health, and like, you were there, but then there were periods where, because things like baby blues or postnatal depression can go on longer than you even realize, like hormonally you're all over the place, and sometimes your body and your mind be playing tricks on you and make you feel things that aren't there. And so, like, having the boldness to communicate and be like, actually, let me say what I'm feeling, because one, I need to let my friend know how I'm feeling, but then also having the opportunity to hear what's on the other side and know that, oh, actually, this was in my head, you know. I was being mad paranoid because hormones, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so communication, I think, just to go back to your earlier point, is really the bedrock of a good relationship. Like,
and the courage as well. I love that you shared that, because first of all, it was, you know, I'm hearing it. Like, I'm just going to show it. And we live around the corner from one another. So that just makes it. But I think this, this thought on like hard conversations, like being willing, that, because I think that's vulnerability as well. To be like, to almost to look crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
To be like, to look silly and be like, you know what, I thought you didn't like me. You know?
Yeah, that one's there.
I thought you did like me. And just like what comes with that, like, why would you think that? And it's almost like a learning curve, because it's like, everything ain't about you. Or like sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's in your head. Like, that's something that you need to deal with, you know? And sometimes it's not even that deep. Sometimes you were just reading between the lines a little bit too hard.
And how often do we do that as women sometimes? Like, and I think sometimes when you've been through, and not even just as women, I'm not saying that, because I feel like sometimes as well, when, just to go back to what you shared in your earlier experience, when you've been through betrayal and trauma, like sometimes you get used to like reading subtext because you can't always trust what people are saying. And so then sometimes that you then read into situations at times. Like sometimes it's a defense mechanism, because sometimes you can read a room, and I feel like a lot of people who've been through certain traumas and whatever else, like you're very heightened emotion, like you've got emotional intelligence because you've learnt to really pay attention to people's cues and emotions and responses. But then sometimes that can be a double-edged sword where you then read into the subtext of something that isn't there. And I'm absolutely guilty of that.
Yeah, no, I'm 200 million guilty of that. Even up until, no, but like,
until last week, girl.
Like 100% guilty. And I don't think it ever ends, but it's being able to identify it and deal with it. And that, sometimes it doesn't even need to be a conversation. It's a come to Jesus moment. Like, Jesus, here I am. You know, here I am. Deal with thine, whatever it is. Deal with your servant as you will, you know. But I want to like, kind of like switch gears a little bit and end on this thought in terms of, because we work together as well, you know, with CMP, the tribe, you know. And I think that has been, it's been relatively smooth, I would say. But again, it's the same with the hard conversations.
I'd say so. I think it's been relatively smooth, and I think where we, have reached a place where we're growing and we're formalizing in such a beautiful way, it means like we're expanding, we're having to think of different things, we're taking on new responsibilities, and that's all outside of our existing responsibilities as wife, as mom, as women who are doing, like, I mean, you got your own business and your own church, child, like, you know, I'm working my job, like, and so like, you've got all these things that you're juggling. And it's, I think, in moments like this of, to be honest, another transition where it's growth, like in this working relationship, where actually, again, communication is so key, like touching in with one another, making sure we're on the same page, like being real about when we can't do something, or being real about, oh, do you know what, I've spoken to so-and-so, and you know, so-and-so is going to handle X, Y, and Z, like, and I think one of the things that I've really appreciated about our relationship and working together, I think we work brilliantly together. And I think we're able to challenge one another in a great way, in a way that means growth for what we do together and growth for each other.
No, I love what you said about growth and transition. And I think one of the things in our working world as well is being accepting of our differences. That's been, do you know, the different, how we attack something, how we do something, not misinterpreting how we're doing things.
And our different working styles.
Like, cause we different. we different. We are real. Like you're very cautious, thoughtful, very like aware, very. The word's not political, but very like everything in a line. Whereas I'm like scattered a line. I'm like, I woke up today and I just feel like CMB should have bubbles. And you're like, you're the person that's like, okay, so can we slow down? I think we need to think about the hygiene. And I'm like,
I
but
love
why?
this example.
And I'm like, why do we need to think about, okay, if you say so. But like being able, like, before it can deem as like, you don't get me, like, this is blah, 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 blah. But over the process of time, it's been like, no, but that's important. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
yes.
every part is important. And it's almost rubbed, now it's just like, okay, like, do you want the bubble? Like, can you think about the threat of bubbles? I know it's silly because bubbles don't have no threads, but do you get what I mean?
I do get what you mean. And it's like, we can have the bubbles, but maybe we can put this in place so that we can accommodate and have this and around, and the bubbles can be within it.
yeah. Which you're very amazing at, but I think it's accepting differences, which is one of, outside of communication. Communication plays a part in that, the foundation, but also that word acceptance. Again, you know, accepting who it is. But that is our last.
No, girl, I'm enjoying this conversation.
Our last. I know, I was enjoying. We can talk for ages and on and on and on. But we believe that friendship is such a vital component to going beyond the confinements of, you know, maybe what life has tried to tell us, or the limits or the restrictions that society has tried to place on women. And friendship is there to remind you of what you can do. And I feel like you have done that very well, especially in this space of coffee and prayer, being able to be like, let's do it. We'll go through the details, but let's do it.
But let's do it. Like,
let's do it.
Let's dream big. We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
And so friendship is such a key part in your growth, in your progression, and your development. And so I want to ask you a question. Have you been communicating your needs to your friends, the people in your world? And how can you start communicating to your friends what you need? And also, I think another question is around discerning. Who do you need to start putting in their relative place as well? Let us know in the comments below, and I'm sure it will bless someone else that is reading it. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Beyond, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Peace.